Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Flamingo Up, the podcast where we help women rise, reclaim their voice, and take charge of their life and career. I'm Allie, the founder of Empower Heard, where we support women in overcoming workplace challenges through coaching and community. Each week, we dive into real issues with expert advice and inspiring stories to help you shift from victim to victor. Today, we're talking about finding hope, how others moved from pain toward healing. This is a particularly special episode because we're joined by two incredible women who face the pain of workplace bullying head on and have emerged stronger and more empowered on the other side. Their stories are raw, inspiring, and proof that healing and growth are possible, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. So, let's flamingo up, gorgeous, and dive right in. Joining me today are Dallas Kohen and Dr. Jackie Layton. Dallas is an extraordinary woman who's overcome significant challenges in her personal and professional life. After a fulfilling decade-long career with a national youth-serving nonprofit, Dallas faced workplace bullying that led to her being persecuted and unfairly terminated. Her journey of recovery, resilience, and professional growth is nothing short of inspiring. She has employed her emotional recovery and healing strategies to grow past this hurdle and onto a new professional journey. Welcome, Dallas.
Thank you so much, Allie. Thank you for having me, and thank you for hosting such a very, very important podcast conversation.
So let's just dive right in. Your story of being victimized by a female colleague in your workplace really struck a chord with me. Could you share to everybody here what happened and how you began to find hope and healing?
Absolutely. So, in my professional life, I've always been someone with a dream and a job. And my job has always been, it's very important to me to have purposeful work. And I found the world of nonprofit about 10 years ago, maybe 11, 12 years ago. And it has been a beautiful career for me. I really enjoy impacting people. And I was doing that with a national nonprofit, youth serving nonprofit at the local level for about 8 years. And then I was picked up to the national office. Now, that was a stressful job, that move. It was stressful. It was a little less people focused. However, I was still learning and growing and really appreciating. I was very respected by my colleagues and was moving along quite well. And then there's always an and then. The organization hired on a chief for the department. It did not have a chief previously, and everything turned upside down at that point. So suddenly I went from a trusted and respected colleague to someone who couldn't do anything right. And this particular chief was, wasn't just me who was being persecuted. Everyone on the team was either pressured until they quit, moved to another department. And for myself and those who did not quit, there was a lot of squeezing that happened. I was just devalued in meetings, just really spoken to very harshly. We were in a remote environment, and it was to the point where colleagues would contact me after a meeting ended to ask me if I was okay because of the way that she was speaking to me.
Mm.
There, yeah, there were several false accusations. There was a context of, well, these people are complaining about you and you need to fix this, and I'm going to help you fix it. Except when I ask, who was the person who's complaining, can I please go to them and make it right? There was never any names revealed. When I talked to any colleague that I thought might be someone who I may have offended at some point, none of the colleagues I spoke to said that I had offended them. In fact, quite the opposite. So there was definitely gaslighting involved in the dynamic as well. And so fast forward, I worked on this person's team for a year and a half. So the first year at national office, I was fine. Then for the last year and a half, it was really, really rocky. And there were false accusations and gaslighting. And just I took a training. So a corporate environment, I took a training on workplace bullying and sexual harassment in the workplace, which is one of those mandatory, trainings that we all have to take. And I recognized that I was being bullied.
Mm.
All the signs were there. So individually, I didn't put it together as bullying. I didn't put it together as anything other than this person is not a happy person, making all of us not happy people. But I did not have a label for that as workplace bullying until I took that training, and I reported it to HR. It took me a while because I'm a single parent. I valued my job, wanted to keep it. I did not, and I saw what was happening to other people. I didn't want that to happen to me. And so it took me a long time before I reported, but I did report to HR. Nothing happened. And the accusations continued to grow. And she began documenting accusations and sending them to HR for my files. And so I stood up to defend myself against them. And I'm a detailed person, so I came up with this manifesto of here's the accusations against me, here's why they didn't happen, here's the people that can corroborate what I'm saying, like 12-page manifesto.
Yeah.
The chief was trying to get a performance improvement plan on record for me. She was not successful because my immediate supervisor did not agree with her accusations, because that person worked with me on the daily basis, and said, I don't agree with this, I won't sign it. And so that did not come to fruition. However, 6 months later, when it was annual review time, those accusations plus more arose. And now I had a different fight. And so I, again, very detailed. Here's why these accusations aren't true. Here's what I've done. Here's what I do take responsibility for, because I believe, everyone has blind spots. Everyone has places to grow. And so I took responsibility where I believed I should, but I also said words like, this is bullying.
Mm.
These are false accusations. This is a toxic work environment. And I know those were fighting words. I know those were fighting words, but they were true. They were true. And as adults in a professional setting, I had hope that we'd be able to have some open conversations about what was happening, and do some sort of action plan with our team, which was really struggling, really hurting all of us.
Yeah.
And there was silence after my second manifesto, silence, crickets, and then I was promptly fired. And again, even in the annual review, my immediate supervisor didn't agree with what was in it, and even her words were not allowed. Her vantage point was not allowed. It was only this chief, um, with only negative things to say. And so I've had to use the skills that I learned in my personal life when I had abuse, is what we call that in a domestic violence situation, and bullying is what we call it in workplace situation. But it's the same. It's that dynamic of power and control and hurting another person because you can. But I've had to use those same skills to walk forward, to, forgive, to work with healing, and chart a new path for myself.
Oh, thank you so much. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Dallas's first time sharing her powerful story publicly. I am so grateful you chose to do that here with us. Your courage to speak up and reclaim your voice is truly inspiring, Dallas. So
Thank you so much.
I do have a question for you though. What was the turning point for you to start healing and moving forward?
Well, um, it hasn't been that long, to be
I
honest. I
know.
was fired close to 4 months ago.
Mm.
So it hasn't been long, and I still find myself. Do you know how there's certain parts of healing, there's certain parts of self-growth that don't happen unless you're in a romantic relationship, right? So you can avoid it all you want, but then when you get involved with someone, lots of things rise that just were not present before.
Yeah.
So it's the same for a professional relationship. So many things hadn't necessarily risen until I'm searching for new work and deciding what kind of work experience do I want right now?
Mm.
What type of work experience am I willing to pursue? And I'm definitely not who I was before, 10 years ago, you know, when I was searched for a certain type of work environment. I'm not at that place today. And just allowing myself to say, you know what, it's okay if I don't pursue the exact same thing that I did before. If earning a living looks different now, and that's okay too. And allowing for the dream portion of me to be a bigger portion of my everyday activity.
Oh, that's amazing. I do have one very important question for you, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
If someone listening today is experiencing something similar to what you went through, what's the first step you think they should take?
Here's what I say. So I'm a life coach on the side, on the other side, and something I say to folks who are dealing with betrayal or trauma or abuse, which happens in workplaces just as much as homes and churches and other places. Don't do it alone. So that's what I would say to someone who experienced this. Um, your colleagues are probably also experiencing things. I mean, it was a really sad situation for me, but I took comfort and my colleagues took comfort in each other and saying, you know what, that was a hard one. I just had to cry, listening to each other is really, really valuable. So that I would say that is step one, but get support for yourself. Your colleagues are not professional HR people or counselors or coaches, right? So they don't necessarily have the tools to bring you through a process, but they can listen. So step one would be have someone that you can share with and be heard. And step two would be find someone who can help you step through that process.
That's amazing. It's such a I hear you because when I went through my bullying, I didn't know anybody else was experiencing it until right at the end when I was, preparing to walk out the door. So, the fact that you had that camaraderie of people around you to make sure that you're okay and to support you, even though it went to the point of being unfairly terminated for accusations which can never be verified because they were false to start off with. Having people in your corner would have made all the difference instead of feeling really isolated and alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm very fortunate, even as I was fired, and of course news spreads in a situation like that. Many, many people reached out to me. Hey, Dallas, are you okay? Um, Folks sent me money. Here's some groceries. Can I help you find a job? Just beautiful kindness, beautiful kindness from others, and because they knew this particular person just wasn't a kind person, and
Yeah.
and knew my quality of work also. So it was really comforting to know like I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I am a good worker. So that was a really good thing.
I am so in awe of what I mean. It's only been 4 months. I've been there. I've been on the 4 month mark. I know what you're going through. I left my job. You were unfairly terminated. So yeah, the circumstances were different. The emotions are the same, and it all stems from one person who's highly insecure and jealous, who just, goes around to tear other people down for no other reason than to make themselves feel better. And around the 4 month mark, you start revisiting what's happened and, where can I grow and learn differently from here? And then you start really delving into, you've gone through that painful trauma, the anger and all that stuff has happened. And now you start really discovering yourself and your strengths through that experience and what you can take forward to not only your family, but to your next workplace and to your clients as a life coach.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just getting to decide, what do I want my professional walk to look like? What is this now? And not necessarily wanting to put myself back into a situation where I never liked office politics,
Mm,
or that whole, I just wanted to do my job, be genuine, and that's it, right?
yeah.
Make an impact. So, you know making sure I'm in situations that are supportive of that.
I am so incredibly proud of you. We spoke a few weeks ago and you shared your story with me then, and I had goosebumps then. I have them again today, and I think I could listen to your story multiple times. And I hope other women get from you what I get from you, which is there is hope. No matter where you're at, 4 months without a job, you're a single mum and you are thriving. You are pushing through and growing and becoming this incredible woman to help other women. And that's what this podcast is all about. So for you to be here, I'm incredibly grateful.
Thank you so very much. I'm incredibly grateful to have been invited. This is such an important thing for people to speak about out loud. And just like you were saying, reclaiming their voice. It's so powerful what you're doing. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, thank you, darling. Everyone, hearing Dallas's story reminds of how personal experiences shape the way we grow and find strength. Our next guest, you will have seen her before, is Dr. Jackie Layton. Thank you for joining me today on Flamingo Up. Before we wrap up, I want to share a quick update. Unfortunately, we weren't able to include Dr. Jackie Layton's story in today's episode due to a technical issue on my end. Jackie's insights are incredibly valuable, and I promise we will bring her back in a future episode to share her powerful journey and expertise with you all. That said, I hope you found today's conversation with Dallas as inspiring as I did. Her resilience and courage are a testament to the strength we can all find within ourselves. Now, let me give you a sneak peek into next week's episode: how to find allies when you're facing challenges alone. We'll explore the importance of building support systems and how to connect with the right people, and practical ways to stand strong with allies by your side. It's going to be packed with actionable tips and inspiring stories, so make sure to tune in. Remember, you have the power to rise, reclaim your voice, and thrive. Flamingo Up means standing tall and owning your space and facing challenges with grace and strength, just like a flamingo. If today's episode resonated with you and you're looking for more support, I'd love to invite you to our Be Heard community. It's an intimate group where I offer live coaching every Wednesday, helping you take these insights even further. You can find the link to request an invite in the show notes. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue your journey of growth and empowerment. Keep flamingoing, gorgeous. I will be your sparkle sidekick.